Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Discordant Dragons. Tonight, we have a special treat for you as our one and only best friend, Aydin Paladin, is visiting another one of our one and only best friends, Mr. Ginger Monster, over in foggy old Scotland, and or I should say rainy old Scotland, I guess. And they will both be broadcasting from the same house tonight. But unlike when Mach visited with Ginger, they each have their own computer and will be using separate mics tonight. So that is the treat for this evening. Before we get started tonight, I would like to announce that the spring picnic is a go. I have multiple people who have already confirmed they are coming. It is April 11th. That is count them, 1, 2, 3 Saturdays from now at a beautiful lakeside park in East Tennessee, just off of Interstate 81. There are only 5 people who have confirmed so far, so plenty more spots if any of you would like to join. I have a few maybes, but we all know how maybes go. They usually turn into no's. If you would like to join us for a fun, beautiful little gathering, we'll start around 10 a.m. Saturday morning and hang out and have wonderful food and fellowship until around dark. That will be Saturday, April 11th. Please reach out to me via email, PM somewhere, at me on Twitter. Let me know in the comments where to reach you if you want me to, if you want to get my attention via a comment somewhere that I stream. Just let me know. And of course, there's no cost to you other than getting yourself to the place in East Tennessee, which of course I do not disclose except for privately for obvious reasons. So with that being said, let's go ahead and bring on the first guest for the evening, Mr. Ginger Monster. Welcome, sir.
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here as usual.
Glad to have you back. And speaking of glad to have back, Miss Aydin Paladin, welcome back, my dear.
Hello. Nice to be back.
Rounding out the party tonight in the 4th spot, Mr. Bleach Demon has returned. Welcome, sir.
Greetings, salutations, and apparently I bounce, since I'm rounding out.
And of course, my lovely little co-host, 3 of 12. Thank you for being here tonight as usual, sir.
Yep. Glad to be here.
All right. So tonight is a fairly regularly structured Discordant Dragons. I have selected 5 news topics for y'all tonight. These, of course, are across a spectrum of things in Anglosphere news, and I've included a tech topic that we will talk about. So with that being said, I'm going to nominate Ginger Monster as the party leader tonight because he is the only one who currently has Aydin Paladin in his house. That makes him more worthy to be a party leader than anyone else tonight.
Makes sense. I find no fault with this logic.
Good to see so many regulars in the chat. We have Wyatt's Torch. We have, of course, Dissident Knight and Big O's here as always. Vexed Peril. Been seeing a lot of you lately. Nameless ones here with us. Azimuth Clark. Good old Ardent Party. Captain Corgi over on Rumble. We have a whole bunch of the regular crew here early tonight. Glad to see you guys. So let's go ahead and get started then. I will bring up the dragons. Tonight, the topics are from the Red Dragon, surprise! The Green Dragon has state enforced anti-whiteism. The Black Dragon has the stale graham cracker, and notice how graham is spelled there. The White Dragon has Texan Musk, and the Blue Dragon has the Prigine problem, or the Prigine problem, depending on how you pronounce that name. So many of these may be a mystery to many of you because I obfuscated what they are about on purpose. So it would be fun turning over the card to see exactly what's going on. So Ginger Monster, you know the drill. You can either choose a dragon or you can nominate a party member to choose a dragon. Etc., etc. You know how it works. So what will be first? Will you nominate someone or choose the first dragon yourself, sir?
I think I'm going to nominate Bleach Demon, but I'm going to request that he cover the ominously written surprise.
Well,
entirely up to you if you want to cover that.
Thank you, glorious dear leader. All praise to you. Yes, let's go with surprise.
Okay. Now, many of you who pay attention to slop news and Trump crap might have guessed what this is about. So let's go over to Fox News here.
Oh.
Trump quips about Pearl Harbor when asked if Japan given advance notice on Iran attacks wanted surprise. And of course, here's the clip. I'm sure many of you have heard it. Let's read about this here. President Trump made a quip about Pearl Harbor Thursday when asked if Japan and other American allies were given advance notice about attacking Iran, saying that the U.S. wanted surprise. Trump then made the comment while sitting across from the Prime Minister of Japan, Ms. Takaichi, during a bilateral meeting at the White House. Trump, quote, Japan and the U.S. are very good friends. But one question, I'm sorry, no, this is the reporter quote. Japan and the U.S. are very good friends. But one question, why didn't you tell U.S. allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about we Japanese citizens, a Trump reporter asked Trump. His response is, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in very hard. Oh, that sounds gay already. And we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor, right? Now, I have to say,
he raises a good point.
Like, it's not a good point. We'll get to that.
No, it's not a good point.
It's not a good point at all. We'll talk about it. But I want you to see when Trump's response. Watch the Prime Minister's face here. She actually thinks it's funny. Okay, he's about to drop it. Yeah, look at her. See, she thinks it's funny. Either that or she doesn't know what the fuck to say.
I don't know. That. She seems very uncomfortable to me.
I mean, I'd be uncomfortable.
I would be, yeah.
But regardless, let's move to the Red Dragon and see what the Red Dragon has to say. The Red with us tonight is new to politics, having left his position of war advisor just a decade ago to join a large political senate in the empire. In his short time of being political, he has had to learn what to say and in what ways. But most importantly, he has learned what not to say. So that's why he chose this story tonight. The Japanese PM Takaichi seemed to either be amused or flabbergasted by Trump's response to the reporter. She even grinned like she may be about to laugh, which this dragon found amusing. But it begs the question, why was she laughing? So the question tonight, which comes to Bleach Demon, do you think Trump's rhetoric here is good or bad? And how do you think such a statement makes America look?
Now, that's actually a very prescient question, because you get the diplomatic class, the State Department, or the British equivalent, that will just absolutely lose its mind over basically any sort of rhetoric that doesn't play along this very genteel level of diplomatic tropes. And I think it really speaks to it's good for his base. It's very bad for the effete international community. And honestly, I don't think it matters, because the American ego right now is such that it just doesn't really give a shit what the rest of the world says of it. Now, that's for good and ill. And I think, ultimately the problem comes down to, will this lead people to basically panic every time Trump opens his mouth? Or will they just brush off his rhetoric like they have in the past and not take what he's saying very seriously? And yeah, I think it's a tightrope that ultimately it's going to come down to action, because Trump has proven himself less a man of words and more a man of action. And I find it entertaining, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing for America's broader, I won't even say allies, but non-hostile nations.
All right, anything else?
I think it'll go farther than that. I think
Sure,
it's
go ahead.
slop. This is fucking slop.
I fundamentally disagree with that idea that Trump doesn't need allies. Specifically, Trump has asked Japan, as one of the nations that he named, to intercede in reopening the Strait of Hormuz. So it is right now, the U.S. is in dire lack of allies on the world stage. Basically, every country has told the U.S. to go pound sand regarding this war in Iran.
And rightly so.
Yes, very rightly so. And Trump takes this time, of all time, to make light of something that resulted in, I mean, like the Japanese have paid very thoroughly for the events of World War II. We dropped 2 nuclear weapons on them, incinerated men, women, and children in the hundreds of thousands,
by the tens of
thousands, maybe. I mean, people who died as an aftermath is 100. It's an enormous death toll on the Japanese, and the Japanese have been a very good ally to the United States for a very long time ever since. But they did pay an extreme toll for that.
And they make anime and video games, so we should be good to them.
But they,
so we're paying for that.
Aren't we good to them though?
Loyal in many ways. They only very recently have been able to start talking about rebuilding their military, like a proper military, because of the sanctions and the limitations that were placed upon them after the end of World War II. And the Japanese have been incredibly conciliatory and willing to work with the United States. And right now, Trump is begging for anyone, any nation, to come and to the aid of the United States in reopening the strait. And by the way, Japan in particular relies quite heavily on oil and gas that comes to the Strait of Hormuz, more so than a lot of other countries. So the sentiment within Japan, I'd like to point out, from my Twitter is set to read in 2 languages, which is English and Japanese. So I see Japanese Twitter regularly. They're not very happy because the cost of living has got to go through the roof, far more so than a lot of other countries because of their reliance on that LNG. So for him to just kind of spit in their face, the face of the PM like this, while also essentially begging for help and saying he doesn't need it at the same time, it's schizophrenic at best. And it is, I mean, I don't know what's going on with Trump. I have some ideas, but it's a terrible look. It does not speak to the Japanese people to insult them when you're asking them to commit a bunch of material and potentially people to a war that you started, a war of choice.
Mm-hmm. I got to completely countersignal all this shit. This is stupid. It's a boomer joke. He's a boomer. He makes jokes like this. He's made many remarks that resemble this that seem in bad taste. You know, it's a bad joke.
Yeah, I completely back Reed's play. Saying something crass and asinine is entirely within his character, and he's been doing this his entire career. Yes. Like, this is not new Trump behavior.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna sit here and do the whole like, oh, U.S. is no allies thing. Okay, Obama.
Well,
I'm not playing that game.
I really wanted to phrase it as non-hostile nations, because that I think one of the problems is we get very much in the global politics and back and forth where we're in a global hegemon for good or worse, and usually it's worse. But I try to parse it in a sense of we can't just say that they don't exist, but it's also saying that there's an entire dependence is folly to me, and folly on both sides of this, honestly.
Yeah, it's not as simple as like we wouldn't die if we ran out of allies. We wouldn't be in that sort of situation. Also, behind the scenes, there's a lot that goes on that you don't see in the media, and really you should stop fucking watching the news if that's how you're going to react, because the whole point of it is to manipulate what you think of the situation. It's not to mention the fact that today a ceasefire was actually negotiated with the Iranian government, and there haven't been strikes.
According to Trump.
I hadn't heard about that.
Who of those 2 people is more reliable?
Out of the 2, I trust the IRGC.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. No, I'm completely serious.
That's crazy.
Either one.
That's absolutely.
I don't trust either one. But the United States government has done nothing but lie about something. I'm really talking about WMDs in Iraq. By the way, I absolutely do not trust, particularly
it's not 2001.
When Trump was asked, well, I don't care. When Trump was asked about when Trump was asked specifically, who are you talking to? He said, well, I can't tell you who it is because we don't want them to be killed. Now that's potentially true. However, I don't buy it, because Iran is saying they're not in negotiations. Trump has lied at every single step in this conflict, and I'm not about to start trusting him now when he has lied consistently throughout it.
Okay, I'm gonna continue. Okay, I guess I'm just gonna have to disagree with you on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I mean, the reality is, I think
I
we'll probably disagree a lot.
I
on
don't
the
think the
honesty.
IRGC is any more trustworthy than the.
I think they're
Zionist
wildly
bloc that
less
think about
trustworthy.
equally.
They've lied
That-
about
that we're
absolutely
scum.
everything so far.
Yeah, okay. So in regards to both sides of any conflict, let alone one between the US government and Muslims, you can't expect either side of a given conflict to be even vaguely truthful with
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
kind of information, because it is within the best interests of both sides of any conflict to obfuscate to the best of their ability in order to hinder the intelligence gathering abilities of their enemy.
Yeah, that's
Correct.
why
I mean,
you
it's
can't
been-
believe anything.
Indeed, yes.
It's been a consistent policy of the Trump administration to not telegraph their actions.
Well, that was his whole argument here, right? Is, we didn't tell our allies that we were going to attack Iran because we didn't want to telegraph it.
Yeah,
So-
like in that regard, I completely support what Donald Trump said. Obviously, if you're the military hegemon powerhouse, you get to do what you want to do. And you're not going to tell 15 or 16 countries, hey, we're going to do a clandestine war strike here in a couple weeks because loose lips sink ships. Obviously, you're not going to fucking say that. Obviously,
Sure.
you're not going to give out a warning. That's just obvious.
I mean,
completely support what he said in that regard.
Yes.
I just can't believe he said the Pearl Harbor thing. That I fell out of my chair. Like,
I know.
I didn't think that was
I'm
real.
not flummoxed. I'm not flummoxed because I'm used to it by now. I'm so used to Trump being like this.
Yes, I am also used to Trump being like this, but you have to put it in the context of in this meeting, Trump is demanding or asking that Japan commit resources to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz, to help end a war that he started, a war of choice. And then
We've been at war with the IRGC for 47 years.
No, we've actually not. We've been at war with them for far longer than that, since Operation Ajax. Since the United States.
So you've just flipped on your own statement then.
No, the United States started a war with Iran. If you wanted to declare it a war, and you want to say that we've been at war with Iran for 47 years, we've actually been at war with Iran since we couped their government via Operation Ajax, joint CIA MI6 operation, to coup their government, replace them with a puppet leader, the Shah, who they're trying to put back in again now. This is the absolute absurdity. Right now, the reality is that Trump is desperate for any allies on the global stage to assist him. He has now embarrassed the United States. Whatever you think about it, that Pearl Harbor statement is crazy. To one of America's strongest and best allies to make a statement like that while you are asking for military aid, it is. I'm sorry.
That is some crazy pearl clutching.
I have
It's
something
not
about
pearl
this
clutching.
that
If
I
you're
would
asking
like
for help.
I have something on this I'd like to float to the panel, see what you guys have to say.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Mr. Donald Trump, whatever happens to engage him and make him do all of this Zionist war machine stuff, what if he specifically said that to insult Japan because Japan has taken a very nativist, anti-immigrant, some might even say anti-Semitic angle under Miss Takaichi's
She
reign
has.
thus far.
Yes.
So
Yes.
perhaps Donald Trump's Semitic masters wanted him to be crass and ugly to her, and he was instructed to do so. What do you think about that?
It's possible, but I do think that was just Trump, being completely unaware of the position that he's in right now.
No, I mean it certainly sounds like a usual asinine Trumpism. We've heard him all say it 100 times.
And again, under any other conditions, I would be on board with like, wow, that was insane, but okay, this kind of it's funny.
Okay.
It would be funny if we were not in a war, right? And asking for Japan's help.
I have an interpretation.
You say we,
here that
you're
I
not an
think
American.
people might. I have an interpretation here that people.
Yes,
think,
I am.
But tell me what you think about this.
Stop it. Let Jinx talk.
Trump recognizes Takaichi as a right-wing figure, and in doing so recognizes that she's quite unlikely to be easily offended, as one would expect of a right-wing figure. I know that if I was personally in the position of Trump and I had somebody who was of a similar mindset to myself in the room with me as the leader of Japan, I would be quite willing to make the joke of, bringing up Pearl Harbor as a, yeah, this is an inappropriate joke, but you get it, right? You're like-minded like me. I will be comfortable doing that. I have a suspicion that this was literally just a social faux pas on Trump's part.
That's probably all this is. Yeah, I just
especially since if you were so thin-skinned, you could never become PM in the first place of any country.
One would hope, and yet
It's not
the
to the
British
PM;
government.
it's to the people
Yeah.
of Japan that it speaks to.
yeah, because remember the comment was to a reporter. It wasn't to
Yes.
the lady sitting beside him.
Yeah, especially since that reporter has been lambasted, even by leftists in Japan, for the question being very stupid.
It was
It's
a
very
stupid question.
It was a
very
stupid question. But the answer was also like, just because you get a stupid question doesn't mean you have to give a stupid answer.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying it was clearly framed.
I suspect that Trump was hoping for the response of a stifled chuckle from Takayuki, and was possibly disappointed at the fact that she didn't do so and kept her composure.
I think that's a fair point.
Yeah.
I can make. Sorry, yes, go ahead. But I could offer some insight about Japanese
No, go
body
ahead, you
language
first.
if you'd like.
You first.
Japanese body language is very like restrained. So I from if that was supposed to be a chuckle or that's what people read from it, that is not how I read it. And it just is like, because it's like when you learn Japanese, one of the things you also do learn is like how to present yourself, how you behave, with body language stuff, right? That seemed to me to be deeply uncomfortable. I don't know. That's just
Yes, I
agree.
The read that I got from that, the read that I picked up from that particular image, from that clip, was Takayuki heard that comment and probably had words to the effect of, "Oh Christ, I can't believe he just said that on live television," go through her head.
Yeah.
So I would just like to point out that Aydin Paladin is an American 3 of 12. Just because she moved away doesn't mean she isn't American anymore.
I didn't give away my American citizenship. I didn't
Well,
rescind
that
it.
doesn't matter. You were born here. You were of our ethnogenesis. You are an American.
I was born in Virginia.
Just because a Jeet or a Nigerian moves to America doesn't mean they're not a Jeet or a Nigerian anymore. Come on, 3. You know better.
I mean, did you think that I did, or did you think I wasn't born in the U.S.? I mean, it's fine.
No, I just noticed that your cultural your values have changed significantly since you've left.
Yes. Probably.
It's called getting older, having different perspective.
That too. My
Really?
perspective on things has-
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I have a much different perspective than I had a few years ago because of all this. Like the more I learn, the more I look at things, the more that I see, I get wiser. I change my views and opinions on things. Like it just happens. Like especially when you're as jacked in and pay attention to stuff all the time, you can't help but change.
No, my
I mean,
opinions on such matters hasn't changed over the years. I've been the pseudo old man yells at cloud my entire life.
For sure, though, my perspective has changed because of course it would. I've lived my entire life in the United States, and I moved to the British Isles, and yes, my perspective on and right now, by the way, for example, I'm not living in the U.S. propaganda sphere. I'm living in a different propaganda sphere, or whatever. That really, I'm not in it. I'm outside. So I'm the stuff that I am looking at, my perspective on things will be different probably than a lot of Americans. It doesn't mean that I hate the United States or anything like that. I don't like this action because I don't like for whom it's being done and
Yeah,
why.
like I like a lot of things about America, but I've always hated my rotten government and the stupid war machine. I've always hated that. But I love a lot of things about America.
I really hate the stupid war machine for the sake of Israel.
Yeah, I hate that shit. It's so awful.
Yeah,
But
I've always been of the opinion that the responsible thing that reasonable Caucasian nations should do is stick to their own devices and let the rest of the chaotic world blow each other up.
Yeah.
Well, you see,
Sort of.
that's not really viable after 80 years of regime change and fucking around and putting bases everywhere and sort of economically enslaving a third of the planet. Like
To some degree, we have to deal with the consequences
you can't really just
of our
put that
actions.
down.
Yeah.
The best time to institute isolationism was about 80 years ago. The next
Yeah.
best time is today.
Yeah.
It's a
generally-
sticky situation in the Middle East, man. It is.
Yeah, I generally view myself as an isolationist, and even I think that like there's some messes that need to be cleaned up, and after
And
a point,
obviously, me and 3 of 12 are no fan of Iran and the Psycho-Muslim people. Like, we
Yeah.
don't like those guys. But I also
No,
don't
right.
like the forever wars for Israel either. I think they're both bad.
and
I
my
say-
suggestion is to
My
do it
opinion on
for
the
Israel.
sandbox is my opinion on the sandbox being anywhere that is or once was occupied primarily by Muslims and simultaneously possesses desert terrain. That is my definition of the sandbox. All of that should be politically quarantined, allowed to do as it pleases.
I feel
I
the
mean,
same way about
the
most of Africa,
Islamification
too.
of Iran is a direct result and reaction to the Operation Ajax and the overthrow of the Iranian government conducted by the United States and the UK.
Yeah, definitely.
So
hold on.
another whole thing is that like Iran would not be
And
Islamic
it-
fundamentalists in any degree if the United States hadn't done that.
But you
and
have
on
to go
top
back
of
to-
that, and on top of that, Aydin, let us not forget the never-ending meddling in Egypt, Qatar,
Yes.
Iraq,
Yes.
Syria. Like the U.S. machine, the Zionist machine,
Yes.
has been making everyone over there hate all of us because of that
Yes.
shit. It has
Yes.
not helped at all. Like, it's just ugh. It just makes me
I
sick.
mean, people who are like, well, we have to go kill him. We gotta go. I mean, geez, some people like the quartering has been he just like today just said like just kill everyone, nuke the whole place, kill everyone in Iran. And it's like, why?
Yeah, that's an
Well, 'cause
outrageous.
Because they chant
That's
death to
pointless.
America. Well, why do they chant death to America? I can tell you why. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I can sure tell you why. These people, it's not as if they just woke up one day and decided America is the great Satan for no reason. I'm not, again, agreeing with them. But to be blind to it is to be blind to the realities of geopolitics and why we find ourselves in the situation we're in.
Well, let's go ahead and move away from that one because we have a lot more to talk about tonight. And I just checked all the sites. We don't have any paid chats yet. But if you do want to share your hard-earned dollars with me, please consider using Entropy or PayPal or Cash App, or even subscribe to me over on Subscribestar, and you will have your name put into that wonderful intro graphic by Lomax Designs. So let's go ahead and drop that banner and move back to the dragon topics for the evening. That was the red dragon we started with, which was surprise, which means we have 4 topics left. We have state-enforced anti-whiteism, the Prigine problem, Texan Musk, and the stale graham cracker. So, Mr. Ginger Monster, you are the party leader. What will be next, sir?
Well, earlier, Aydin and I were talking about various topics, and we actually got onto the topic of graham crackers. So I think it would
We
only be
did.
appropriate if we took that one next.
We had a totally
I think I-
unrelated conversation. We're talking about cheesecakes.
We were talking about cheesecakes. So I'm going to take the Black Dragons topic for myself.
Okay, very good.
I
The
expect to
stale
be
graham
hilariously out of my depth.
And obviously, since it's spelled this way, we will be talking about the one and only Zio
Oh.
shill, Lindsey Graham.
Here he is. Oh,
Lindsey
I hate
Graham.
him so much.
Me too. Lindsey Graham says, we did Iwo Jima. We can do this. Lindsey Graham calls on Trump to seize Karg Island.
It's hardly even news at this point.
DC Senator Lindsey Graham, during an interview on Fox News on Sunday, March 22nd, shared the advice he is giving the president to take Karg Island, where they have all the resources that they have to produce oil. By declaring, we did Iwo Jima, we can do this. Graham argued that seizing this hub is the only way to, quote, defang the regime and stop them from funding global terrorism. Now, you hate Lindsey Graham. I hate Lindsey Graham. We all hate him. He's terrible. Everybody hates his cocksucking face. We all hate him. So let's go talk to the Green Dragon. See what the Green Dragon has to say. I'm sorry, the Black Dragon. See what the Black Dragon has to say. Which is this beastly fella here. The Black with us tonight has the unfortunate privilege of representing a large civilization of devious, profit-driven humans in the Great Dragon Empire. So he's accustomed to dealing with disgusting shills like Lindsey Graham. He chose this story tonight to ask us about our rotten Zionist shill politicians. Ginger Monster, this question comes to you first. What methods of removing rotten shield politicians and safeguarding against future ones do you think would work, if any?
Hello? Olga.
We hear you. What's wrong? What's wrong?
You're right.
Ginger?
Oh, I thought my mic disconnected. StreamYard told me that my mic was disconnected. It's
Yeah, it
loud.
does that sometimes, like just for a second, then it comes back. I don't know why it does that. It does that to me sometimes too. It's weird.
Right,
That's
so I
weird.
will know to ignore it from now on. Thank you very much.
And also, to avoid having that pop up, close anything else that might want your mic privilege, like Discord or Telegram.
Good idea. I will kill Discord.
So the question, what methods of removing rotten shield politicians and safeguarding against future ones do you think would work, if any?
Yes, have you recently been receiving funding from certain five-sided shaped buildings?
Me? No. Why? What makes you think I'm a Fed for asking this question? I'm curious.
I'm making a joke. But the method by removing them that I would personally recommend would be to basically institute a policy of absolute denial of existence of these people. Refuse to give them any kind of light or air or anything of the sort, such that they are effectively shadow banned out of political light. It's, to my opinion, that individuals who find themselves in positions of political power usually end up being egotists who enter into the realm of politics with the express intent of being able to stroke their ego. If you deny these people the ability to have their ego stroked by simply denying their existence in the first place, that would cause them to want to get out of the business of politics in and of itself, leaving the room open for people of a more sound mind. Alternatively, you could take far more Fed posty routes, but I'm not going to advocate for those on stream.
Well, I will when we're
Don't
done.
worry, I will.
Don't worry.
I got a non-Fed posty one. I got a real easy non-Fed posty. Ban IPAC. Ban all political action committees that represent foreign nations and donate millions and millions of dollars to fund these motherfuckers. The reality is that people like Lindsey Graham and all of his ilk wouldn't be in the positions that they are in states. I mean, unbelievable. Well, okay. Did you read Shu's great article on Lindsey Graham? What was it called?
I don't remember.
She wrote a really good article about how there's a lot of people in the United States South, and you know this, yes, being from there, that who are evangelicals who do believe in a lot of this biblical prophecy stuff very seriously. So
like Ted
to a
Cruz.
certain extent, yes, to a certain extent, those kind of people will elect Israel first sort of politicians. But it just the fact that it is allowed for foreign governments to just openly pay for politicians, and specifically for Israel to pay the extreme amount that it does, as AIPAC does, that it absolutely should be disallowed, banned, and anyone caught doing it should go to jail. There's a real easy way to it. I mean, like, you're not going to get rid of all of it, but that's something you can do that's not Fed posty at all, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that does sound like it would be an effective route for, at the very least, minimizing the issue.
It would remove the public aspect.
Right.
It is, of course, worth pointing out that everything that Aydin just said was incredibly anti-Semitic.
Ginger said it. Ginger said it.
It's you.
Yes. So my stab at this is first, and this one's specific for the United States. Repeal the 17th Amendment, the direct election of senators.
Yeah,
just
I don't
get rid
like
that. That would solve a myriad of problems.
Repeal everything after the 10th and be done with it. Just call it a day.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But if you want to have a more universal way to address this, not just a U.S. focused, but also for Europe, is you need to focus on us as individuals being willing to take the slings and arrows and go up and primary all of these motherfuckers. And until we do that, then we really don't offer any solutions if we're not willing to put our, get our hands dirty and do the work.
Yeah, that's similar to my answers, but please go on.
And we talk about foreign interference money. Okay, so we make that illegal. So we get rid of CARE and we get rid of APAC. Well, that money is still going to be funneled to these people. And
Yes.
in the last couple of election cycles, and again, specifically in the United States, money hasn't really been that big of a decider compared to voter anger. And if we want to start solving these problems, we have to get people angry. We have to get people involved. And if you look at the current state of the Commonwealth of Virginia with their little goblin governor, that really speaks to
you
anger.
have discovered the identity of the green dragon.
Yeah, I should probably take that one.
Glorious memes to go with that too. But I look at I was talking to one of my friends in the UK about their elections cycles and their system, and it's like, oh well, you've got to be part of the party. Okay, well, form your local party. And the problem I always see when trying to solve this is the libertarian answer, which is to run for the highest office in the land. You can't do that. You have to start local. You have to show that your ideas actually work. And otherwise, you're just going outside in a strong breeze and getting urine in your face thinking you're watering the plants. So that's ultimately what it comes down to for a republic form of government. I reject democracy.
Me too.
But it's one of those, until you're willing to do it, until you're willing to represent your interests at a level that gets recognition, then you're just going to be yelling into the void. And I'm making considerations in my own local area as to what can I do to impose these ideas that I have on people that need to have the ideas imposed upon them. But where they're assenting to me saying, yes, you're completely wrong, we're doing it my way. So it's getting.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were done.
No. I just have these weird pregnant pauses. I've given birth.
No, 3 and 12. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I mean, all the answers so far have been fantastic. It's just some of them are more difficult than others and might require other things to happen first.
Right.
I mean, on top of all of those things, you have to continue to change the culture so that the next voting blocks that are moving along, or at least because some of the current ones are just a lost cause. I mean, you're not going to win elections by courting minorities, Jews, whatever. You have to appeal to the monoculture, and this is something that our colleague Odar says on a regular basis, and he's right. You have to appeal to the monoculture. Notice that the elections that have been the most successful have actually been the most patriotic ones. Remember in the early 90s, I figure you're just a tad older than me, then you might remember this. Remember when Schwarzenegger used to drive around in a Hummer after the first Gulf War? And guess what? And that's how Bill Clinton got a lot of sympathy by pretending he was patriotic, having a silver tongue, going for McDonald's, all that crap. And then turns out he's the most Blairist. He was the first Blairist president. Yeah. Even in a time
Bill
when
Clinton was basically our Tony Blair. Yeah.
Yes, he was our Tony Blair. And I mean, and you watch videos of the opinions of people at the time, and young people were extremely right wing at the time. They wanted to end illegal immigration. They wanted to end the welfare state. They wanted zero health care.
They wanted criminals put behind bars and for the riots to stop.
They even resembled the way that young people now, that they had a significant amount of facial hair.
Yep.
So I have thought of an alternate answer to the Black Dragon's question here.
Oh.
And I'm going to posit a potential solution here, and I want you guys to give me your review of the concept.
Sure.
So allow these these funding conglomerations, shall we call them, to continue existing and getting their politicians into power and letting them continue to take the money and, you know, leave everything as it is currently. But institute a lottery once every year. Somebody from any of the given funding institutions, be it APAC or any of the others, will be randomly selected. And if they are selected, they will then be donated to North Korea to do with as they please.
Honestly,
Yes,
glorious leader, that sounds far too kind.
That's funny. I didn't
Yeah,
expect, you subverted my expectations, Ginger. That was funny at the end.
Yeah, I think that's like
Excellent.
where we get closer to the Fed posty things, where we have to like admit to ourselves that we're going to have to engage in increasingly harsh treatments for traders.
Yep.
Yes,
That's
yes.
let's go ahead, since we brought up Fed post stuff, and I promised you that. Now it's time for my answer. I have non-Fed posty and Fed posty. We'll start with the non first. Like many of you said, there are things that we can do to put America First people in office. Good example, in East Tennessee here, where I live, we have a very based sheriff. We have a based mayoral executive for our county. These people actually care about not just America, but specifically about my county and our tiny little municipalities here. They put us first. And anybody who runs for local office here knows that if they have even the slightest stink of anti-white, globalist, anti-Christian pause to them, they will get no votes and might even get beaten up in a parking lot. And again, I'm not saying you should do vigilante justice. I'm not saying you should kidnap anybody like, you know, the stupid federal Whitmer abduction bullshit that happened up in Wisconsin or Michigan or whatever. Like, I'm not saying you should do all that. But I am saying that if any of you listening to this actually care about having a future worth living, you can't just rage about it on the internet. I use the internet to talk to you and inspire you because that is the tool with which I have to speak. This is not where this ends. This is where it starts. You communicate with others on the internet, and then you associate in person at your pub, at your church, at your PTA meetings, at work, at the local park. You meet people of like mind with like interests, and you band together to start pushing out the people in your immediate local area who are bad and uplifting people of the immediate local area who are good to take those positions. The America First movement has had a lot of success doing this in many counties all across the United States, mine included. I know it can be done. Now, the other part of the Dragon's question was safeguarding against these kind of negative politicians in the future. This is where you get into the borderline illegal Fed posty stuff. If you have people like state representatives, senators, people like that, they have homes, they have families, they have churches, they have addresses, they have things they own that they don't want harm to come to. I'm not saying you need to go burn down somebody's house, but you need to go to their homes. Go find out where they frequent. Find out the country club they like to go to. Go and be present there. Don't make a generic sign that says, you know, White Lives Matter or whatever. No, fuck all that. That shit doesn't work. We've seen that doesn't work. Go directly to where that person is and say, hey, you, like, you know, State Representative Thomas, if you don't vote this way or do this thing, there's going to be hell to pay here, and I'm going to make damn well sure that everyone in this county or this city or at this country club knows what an evil, rotten turncoat piece of shit you are, and I'll be here every day. And me and these 12 good old boys with me here in our pickup trucks, you're going to have to answer to us. Your family's going to have to answer to us, shitbag. No Israel bucks for you. It doesn't matter. I don't care. You take those Israel bucks, well, you better go hide in Israel because me and these 12 good old boys will sort you out. Like,
God,
this is the kind of
they
pressure.
all just moved there.
I know, right? This is the kind of pressure that has to happen. Like, it has to happen. Even if we weren't a democracy at all, even if you remove all the democratic elements and we only had a republic like we were supposed to have, you still need to be this way. You, like, people who lord above you have to know there is recompense for them mistreating us, or they will mistreat us. That's just how it is. You have to let everyone in power above you know there will be punishment, there will be repercussions if they turn on us. And you have to be willing to follow through. Now, I know that that's in the realm of Fed posting, but it has to happen. This has to be the case, or you don't have any representation at all.
Yes. If you're going to have a representative government, then the key part, and as a monarchist, one of the things that I talk about is the benefit of monarchy is that, well, you've got one head of a hydra to look at. You have one person who can be, punished essentially by the people if they do a horrific job. The thing with representative democracy is that, like, well, just elect somebody else, essentially. No, there needs to be real account held to politicians who betray the country. And right now, there is an exceptional number of elected United States politicians who are owned by a foreign nation that cannot be allowed. I mean, like, and I don't know. I don't want to get Fed posty about it either. Like I said, I think that if you cut off the money spigot, you get rid of a lot of these problems. Because if there's no money to be had in it, you get rid of a lot of the opportunists. That doesn't mean you won't get the people who are interested in it for power's sake. And money as well. Because again, just getting off publicly doesn't mean it's closed privately. People have got to do something, because it is not how if you're going to keep going into this system, it cannot have the fact that your politicians are absolutely not held accountable to anything they do.
Yeah.
Well, so this is where I have a hard disagreement with monarchists in general, is you don't have, unless it's at a very small scale, anything other than a bureaucracy. And the bureaucracy is where all of this cascades from. You get terrible legislation, regardless of form of government. Where is it coming from? It's from the staff that's been there for 20, 30 years through 4 or 5 different representatives or senators.
Yeah, it's crooked lobbyists that put pressure on people who've worked in the system for 20 years. Like, this is exactly where all the corruption and the cancer is.
Right.
It's not particularly
that is
difficult.
an absolute monarchy in that.
But if you're going to govern millions and millions of people, you have to have functionaries. You have to have something like that.
Yes. You need and advisors, and you need people who yes. And
so I don't want to argue monarchy versus this versus that. I don't want to argue into that.
Sorry, I didn't
there's
really drag it into there.
There's really no point, because we're talking about our system here.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And sorry. I was just.
It's not hard. It's not hard to actually. It's really not that hard to capture one or even multiple branches of government under at least your whatever side you want to be in there. The question is the bureaucracy going to get in the way, and do you have enough control over it that you can do things like, say, overturn the 17th Amendment? You need to make progress. If you are not making progress, if it's slipping away and it continues to slip away, then you're in a position where the political tools have failed, and you need to start considering other things. I have to say,
I gotta be honest, and I agree with you, 3. I think we need to go back to the basic, which is that from time to time, the tree of liberty requires some watering.
It sure does. It's so thirsty right now. It's so thirsty.
Because if we did get 60, if we managed to get 60 members of, say, the Senate and a 60% in the House, and managed to actually get rid of the 17th Amendment, a lot of these problems would be solved. Like the local positions would be a hell of a lot easier to get a hold of. And then we would actually have a functional Senate. And then it would just cascade from there. The second that we start to get things through, like things that resemble the SAVE Act, where you where you very formally prevent illegals from voting, and you have single terms for everyone in Congress, everything will start changing pretty fast.
And yet we
can't change it tomorrow, but because it was designed that way, and they know it. It was designed that way. Because a good government is a government that does nothing.
Yes.
Well, that's not exactly true. Good government does more than nothing, but it mostly stays out of your business. Yeah.
Once it's done what it needs to do, it does nothing.
Yeah.
Well, and also a good government for those who want to stay in power and maintain power, influence, money, etc. Absolutely do nothing. So for the people, it's good for the government to do very little, but also to do nothing is good for those in power. particularly for conservatives, right? So they can just run on, oh, we'll fight again next time. We'll definitely. Meanwhile, again, guess what's happening in Virginia? The Democrats actually do stuff because you can just do things. And the Republicans always run on, whoa, my hands are tied by legislation and procedure. They don't. That is what the Republicans have been my entire life, and why they need to be destroyed is because their entire platform is, I promise I'll try to do something, but I won't. Unless it's another war for Israel, I'll do that.
It's the old phrase. It's the old phrase.
It's amazing to me how if you take everything that Aydin just said and replace Republican with Conservative Party, it applies to Britain perfectly.
Yes, it sure does.
Because it's containment.
Well, there's the old phrase, whether it's Republican or Tory, they have the ability to seize defeat from the jaws of victory.
Every time. And also we have another saying.
Without fail.
We have another saying is no matter which president you vote for, you always get John McCain in the end.
Oh, that
you always do it. Can you imagine how happy he is in hell right now?
Yeah.
No, I'd rather not.
I would beg people to not be black pill virgins.
He's ecstatic. and Lindsey Graham, speaking of, waiting to join him hopefully any day now.
Yeah.
Oh, if they say evil never dies young.
No, it doesn't.
I continue to hold to the idea that Trump is only the first to popularize.
We'll see. I am hopeful, but remain skeptical as always.
Same.
So, I think that's good for this topic. Let's go ahead and move on. So I pulled the topics back up here. We still don't have any paid chats, so I don't need to segue to that. But I would very much like to make a little money tonight. So if anybody would like to send in some dollars, I would deeply appreciate that, and humor whatever things you have to say. So we just did the stale graham cracker, and we started with surprise, which leaves the Prigine problem, Texan Musk, and state enforced anti-whiteism. And I've already revealed that 3 of 12 hit upon the Green Dragon topic, which is, of course, the shitty Jewish governor of Virginia. So 3 of 12, would you like to take that one?
I would love to.
All right. Let's go ahead and do that.
These are all kind of related topics. So
yeah.
Everything's related in the end, isn't it?
Like West Virginia.
Like by a big star of some sort. I don't know.
It's a 6-pointed one.
Don't make me get out the meme. All right, come on. Let's get to this. Well, here she is right here.
Honker on this bitch.
Look at that snout.
I mean, she was rubbing her hands yesterday. Jesus Christ.
I have memes of that later. Let's not touch on that yet. Anyway, in the state of Virginia, the state of Virginia now mandates that 42% of government contracts must go to SWAM businesses, which stands for Small Women and Minority Owned. HB 61 bars white men from bidding on state contracts under $100,000. It was pushed by, of course, this anti-white piece of crap right here, Governor Spanberger. Now, many of you have probably already heard about this. I looked into this, and it is just as rotten as you think. This is exactly how this works. This is what's on the tin. It's basically forcing white people out of a huge amount of government and corpo government contracts right here. So let's go ahead and move to the Green Dragon, which is this guy. The Green with us tonight, excuse me, is a governor himself. He presides over a large island comparable to the size of Australia on our world. It's heavily forested and populated by both elves and humans. He and his clan have ruled this region of the Dragon Empire for centuries and have maintained both peace and economic productivity. And he's done so by allowing for the natural ethnic expressions of the population while maintaining strict borders for each group. His question tonight is this, and it comes to 3 of 12. Do you think excluding whites from government and corporate contracts will backfire on them, forcing whites to go their own way and concentrating white excellence?
100%. I think yes. They've gone way too far, way too fast. They forgot to boil the frog. They sprinted to the finish, and now you see organizations passing out magazines on the street in Richmond.
Yep.
This is absolutely 100% going to backfire. Okay, so like I gotta get into the redistricting thing because that, oh my god, is that just outrageous? Not just for the reasons that you already know it, but as someone who like actually sees Virginia ads on TV every fucking day, it's outrageous the way that they're framing this. They're framing it as some kind of return to fairness, or as a counter to Trump and Republicans redistricting other states, which in their cases they're just undoing gerrymandering. They're framing it on the idea that they're trying to fix things, not showing the map, not telling the public that the specific bill is about redistricting. They just talk about it's just fairness. It's just fairness. It's a temporary measure to bring back fairness. And if you read the ballot question, it says nothing about redistricting. It just says vagaries about fairness.
Yep.
On top of that, there is a specific rule in Virginian rules on redistricting. When Congress approves a new map, you have to wait 180 days before there can be a vote on it. The April vote violates that. It's not even close to 180 days. It's already for already a month. It's been under injunction by the Virginia Supreme Court. And the Virginia Supreme Court is known to be quite speedy when it comes to striking stuff down. It's been suspected that most people thought that they were going to have it struck down by now. I'm not sure what's stopping them, but there's no reason why that vote should be held at all. It's completely illegal for multiple reasons. The obviously judicial branch just completely disagrees with the map, says it's illegal, doesn't care. This normally wouldn't happen until there's another census in 2030, but they're doing this because they know they got to change things now so that they can make Virginia a blue state forever. It's egregious. I've never seen Democrats do something so egregious in my entire life, and that's really saying something, considering the stuff that we've seen, even recently.
Like Jason Kuna, the no white guilt guy, he covered the shit this woman's done already a couple weeks ago, and this woman has pushed through so many awful, terrible things already.
It was within instantaneously. The second she got in, she just the litany of things. I mean, this is just this one is perhaps look like I would say I worked for an architecture engineering firm. I've talked about this before, I think, for a while, which did contracting for the United States government predominantly. And when we would do contracting for the United States government, in almost all of our contracts, there already is, just to be clear, the 40% thing, that's new. There already are stipulations, which whenever you do any kind of work for the state or federal government, that you have to have a certain amount of the work that is done by women and minority-owned businesses. That's already on the books. It's the extent to it. And when you said boiling the frog slowly, this actually is. That stuff already exists. It's something like 10. When I worked there in 2014, it was 10% had to be done by women and minority-owned businesses. So
which is already illegal.
Well, they get around it in their ways. But my point is, that was on the books back in 2014 when I was working at the A&E firm. So this is an escalation of it. But it is, in a sense, boiling of the frog slowly, and it is managed decline. So do you think that excluding whites from government and corporate contracts would backfire on them? It's sort of supposed to. This is managed decline.
Well, yeah. What the point of that managed decline is to carve out the United States and give it to the global elite. I'm saying that in this case,
of course,
it's not
the non-white people that they are replacing this with.
Yes, but they have to move slowly because otherwise people would notice and do something about it. Well, they've triggered that. They've found the point where people are actually going to suddenly do stuff, and they are openly
I agree.
and flagrantly.
I think the mask is off. I think they threw it against the wall and broke it, and it can't be.
The hot dog is thrown down the hallway. It's just over there now.
But you got to understand the demographics of the voting, and I know that you know this. The demographics of the voting population in Virginia it's all those DC politicos that live up there in North VA, and they're like the biggest fucking shit libs that have ever existed.
Yes.
And they're going to vote that way no matter what. And Virginia, unfortunately, is a captured state, much like Maryland.
It's gotten worse, though.
I know, but it's the proximity to DC makes them essentially satellite states to DC, and therefore they represent the district, and therefore will be the worst outside of California for this stuff.
Well, we kind of sort of had it contained up until recently, and the major change is that there's been enormous amounts of illegals coming in there. The foreign population in Virginia is now 30%. 30%.
Yeah.
And which is like 25% of that is like illegal, and the 30% overall of people who have visas and whatnot. I'm not sure how much of that is overstaying, but the point is that they've taken what was already almost just enough to get them there, and they've gone the extra. I mean, I'm seeing illegals in places I never thought I'd see them. I'm seeing them way out in rural Virginia. I see them hanging out in Burger Kings and truck stops, and they're just everywhere.
The peanut farms, the peanut plantations. Put them to work there. Yeah. Just kidding. Don't deport all of them, but like if they're going to work.
And we've seen the Costco post, right? We've all seen the Costco post that Costco's turned into a third world bazaar. They're just everywhere. I was in Winchester, Virginia, and they're just everywhere. And I just can't believe what's happened to this place, considering like this is where I would go to this part of my grandparents had their home here. I would come down there for camping and kayaking on the Shenandoah. And it used to be pristine. It used to be Americana.
It is one of the most, in my opinion, Virginia is the most beautiful state in the nation. West Virginia, close second. I'm a little biased. But yeah, they're a pristine, beautiful state. And look at the state of it now.
Well, you and three have talked yet. Let's hear from Ginger and Bleach. What do you guys think? Anything come to mind? Because Bleach, I know you.
I'm afraid I don't really have a whole lot to say on the matter. This one's a bit beyond me. Go ahead, Bleach.
Well, let's hear from Bleach. He lives in Virginia as well.
Yeah, and this hits very much to home in a lot of ways. The sad part is, unfortunately, the idea of these contracts backfiring and forcing whites to go our own way. It's unfortunately not going to happen because one, there's a lot of, and I'm not going to reveal too much, but in the industry that I've worked, there are a lot of shell corporations that are SWAM qualified, and
yes,
I have to compete against them. I've had to compete against these organizations to the point where this legislation, 20 years gone, 20 years gone. And I am very much of the idea, will this drive me into providing my services elsewhere? I've got to move states. I've got to get out of the old damnation state. And that's something where I'm heavily considering that. So I think, will it backfire on them? Maybe in the short term, but long term, the demographic shifts are too great.
Yeah.
The entirety of Nova, which is Northern Virginia, for those that aren't in this cesspool, Nova, Naziville, and Tidewater are all pushing the rest of the state into directions that it doesn't want to go. And I don't see any way back from it to the point where I can go to my regional area and my sorry for being vague, but I have to be, and seeing the degradation, the destruction of local institutions, places that I grew up seeing and wanting to take future generations of little Bleaches to, gone, just absolutely gone, for no other reason than loans were given in preferential ways for certain groups rather than others.
It's very sad how the white erasure has devastated our ability to have a reliable future. It's disgusting.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Reminder that this is one of those problems that needs to be solved by the federal government. So as long as we have it, if we have a federal government that's on our side, it can be solved, but not until then. The problems that we have are multifaceted and require capturing of different institutions to solve. So we basically we're stuck with this sort of Virginia situation until there's mass deportations in Virginia, and the what's the word? The motivations need to change. I mean, they need to be They need to change the situation so that the legals just self-deport. We need to be harsher. We need to be much harsher on them.
Yes.
Well, self-deporting
that's
does help a lot, Aydin. That is a big part of turning the tables.
It's been the vast majority of the people who have left. Of the 2.5 million, it's like probably 2.2 million.
Yes, sorry, I'm not denying that. I'm saying trust me. I think self-deportation needs to be encouraged more, of course, and there's many ways to do that. However, at some point, it probably is going to have to be more than that. And you need to have a very strong hand. It's not Trump. At the federal level, he really demonstrated that in terms of Minneapolis and Minnesota, of pulling out. I know ICE is still working there and allegedly not working with the government, but that was that to me, at least, that was a sign of weakness. Even back a couple months ago, where it's like that was a place we needed to show, no, we're going to stick to our guns. And the inability of the federal government to work with the local state governments on this in terms of the deportations is not good either. And unfortunately, the reality is that after Trump, you will get Democrats back in the White House. It is inevitable at this point. There's no way a Republican.
I don't know. We'll see.
I strongly disagree. I think you're watching too much UK media.
Yeah, like
there's a
lot going on in the United States right now when it comes to people turning
what do I
on
mean
Trump,
by that?
But from a more right angle. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see.
Unless a Rupert Lowe-esque figure, for example, does arise in the United States, I don't think you're good. The Republicans are repugnant. They have stink of Israel all over them right now. The Republican Party needs to be gone. It needs to be eviscerated and wiped off the face of the fucking planet and replaced with something else. Because the Republicans, as they stand, are untenable.
They're the party.
Well,
of Israel.
obviously,
Yes.
well, okay. Obviously, the point of the current political cycles, right? The recent cycles was to hijack the Republican Party and use the fact that it already had institutions and size to actually get someone to start to work at the cracks. And I think that part has been successful. At the very least, we know that if you start working at things, you can make a difference. It's not completely hopeless. If you do get a Rupert Lowe-like figure, he would actually be genuinely successful.
So
we need one in the States, and I hope Lowe is one fraction of the man he appears to be.
I hope so.
I need to throw this out before we go too far into the weeds, because this is deep in the weeds. CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, a publicly owned branch of the Muslim Brotherhood, has been courting Republicans for decades, and that is where we get religion of peace from. So it's not just
right?
Congratulations.
They're all
whatever the fuck it's called.
CARE.
Yeah. And so it's not just one side or the other. It's a bidding war, and whoever has the highest bid for whatever politician at that time wins. And the only people that are
I think it goes back to the
Christians
previous dragon. That goes back to the previous dragon of what do you do to get rid of these creatures out of DC? And because they're not just paid off by Israel, they're paid off by all kinds of different foreign interests.
Well, I do have a proposition. Something that is being proposed by Rupert Lowe in the UK, and is something that you could very well do on your own land over in the States. Completely outlaw both the importation and creation of all halal and kosher slaughtered
and
meats.
Kosher.
Yeah, I wish.
Right. It's impossible with the current set of politics that we are working with. There's too many traitors in the Republican.
Yes.
You can just do things. Also, I don't think I
You
understand.
can just do things, but you'd have to do it.
Yeah,
By the way,
It would require like an EO, or you would need a new Congress, because this Congress ain't doing it.
yes,
it's
and this
not,
is the
but-
problem with it. A lot of things are going to have to change. Even I don't think that goes far enough. Low signaling there is correct. It's in the right direction, both halal and kosher. But the reality is that the vast majority of Muslims and Jews living in the UK, for example, don't follow those rules anyway. So, I mean, like,
Yeah.
look, I find their behavior and their practices to be repulsive and repugnant, and they are.
I still think that we should ban them. But
Yeah, I agree.
But
But that alone is not enough it will spur some remigration. You
like
have
all of this talk about restructuring and banning and stuff. It only
people.
matters when we recapture what's ours spiritually and culturally, and that requires all the little stuff we talk about. And this won't happen.
The little things are part of it, but like if you want to get rid of these people, that's not enough because they don't give a shit about their religious beliefs. Not really. What has to be cut off is the money spigot. It must be cut off. Not one red cent should go to any of these people for any fucking reason, and that will spur remigration. That will spur them to go away if they're not getting anything out of it. Things like banning halal, things like banning kosher, they are movements towards that process, and it's the same thing in the United States as well. I would highly suggest banning halal, banning kosher.
Well, yeah.
That you're never going to ban kosher in the United States under the current paradigm.
We'll
can
see.
only dream.
We'll see. Yeah, same.
I mean, at the moment, it's the only
dreaming,
reliable way of getting good stuff.
Let's move on because I have a dream of finishing the stream on time. So
That's right.
Good luck.
hey, I have Aydin here. I know
Martin
what's up.
Luther is here.
I have a dream that dinner will be prepared on time.
That's you know, black people in my state, Tennessee, they don't like to sleep because the last one of them who had a dream got shot. So
Ooh.
anyway, let's move on. For $5 on Entropy, good old Aydin party coming in. Cheap ads are cheap, he says. Find me on X at Aydin Party, on Rumble at Aydin Plays. New stuff starts again tomorrow. The ever-increasing white exclusion in government and cultural institutions will lead to a, quote, greater Irania movement as a self-defensive response. Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at with that question about concentrating white excellence. So to wrap up on this and then move on, I think that it is inevitable that there will be a pushback of some sort. Now, that doesn't mean that everything's going to be hunky-dory, but I do think that this noticeable, obvious, overt anti-whiteism is creating a very palpable white identity response in millions of people.
Yes.
We don't have elites to lead us much yet, nor do we have any kind of real strength yet. But what's building isn't going away. It's only becoming stronger and worse. So because I do think that's happening.
And yes, it must happen or else we will be extinguished from this earth.
Mm-hmm.
It must.
And I think it will happen. I think that we will triumph over the evil ones. I think we will.
I agree. I hope so.
That was the only paid chat, so let's go ahead and move along. Going back to the topics, we just did the Green Dragon. So that leaves the Prigine problem and Texan Musk. Mr. Ginger Monster is the party leader. What will be next, sir?
I think that Aydin should, not Aydin, 3 of 12 should have his choice of topic.
Well, he took the black one, remember?
Yes.
I did the green one.
I
the
think
green
one.
one. Yeah, he took the Virginia one. He took the green one. Yep. So that leaves
I think Emily
Oh, yes, true.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So the Prigine problem.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead, Aydin. You
right.
tackle the Prigine problem.
No.
Okay. I don't know if you guys have heard of Carrie Prigine or not, but we're going to have a look at this little article here.
I thought Prigine was just a new. I genuinely thought when I saw the word Prigine that it was just a new slur for Indian people.
No, Prigine is a last name. Here we go. Carrie Prigine Baller did not. Why is this highlighting so strangely? There we go. Carrie Prigine Baller did not arrive at the February 9th, 2026 hearing on anti-Semitism in America as a hardened ideologue. She came wearing an American-Palestinian flag pin, armed with questions she believed a Religious Liberty Commission should be willing to hear, and convinced that religious freedom meant the freedom to dissent from the prevailing Israel orthodoxy. And by February 11th, she was terminated. The former Miss California, USA, a recent convert to Catholicism, appointed by Trump to the White House Religious Liberty Commission, was removed from the panel after she challenged witnesses at a museum of the Bible hearing about whether criticizing Israel policy in Gaza constituted anti-Semitism, whether Catholics were required to embrace Zionism, and whether social media platforms would be pressured to censor biblical passages about the role of Jewish authorities in the crucifixion of Christ. Her removal came not from President Trump, but from Commissioner Chair Dan Patrick, the evangelical Christian lieutenant governor of Texas. Prigine responded with a public letter rejecting his authority and accusing him of acting in alignment with a Zionist political framework that hijacked the hearing rather than in defense of religious liberty. The message was unmistakable. In an era when Zionist power over American discourse on Israel has reached unprecedented consolidation, even asking the wrong questions can be detrimental to one's standing in normie political circles. Now, keep in mind, Prigine is by no means a fervent anti-Semite. Her career arc, in fact, mirrors that of a typical establishment conservative. She rose to national attention in 2009 when, as Miss California USA competing for the Miss USA title, she answered a question from celebrity blogger Perez Hilton about same-sex marriage by saying she believed marriage was only between a man and a woman. The answer cost her the crown and made her a hero to social conservatives. She subsequently authored Still Standing, appeared on conservative media circuits, and built a brand as a defender of traditional values and religious conviction in a hostile culture. She then later married NFL quarterback Kyle Baller, had children, and converted to Catholicism with him. When Trump appointed her to the Religious Liberty Commission, it seemed a natural fit for someone whose public persona had been defined by refusing to bend under pressure. That history makes what happened next even more revealing. If someone with Prigine's conventional conservative credentials could be instantly expelled for the simple question she asked, the boundaries of acceptable discourse on Israel have become vanishingly narrow.
Mm-hmm.
So we will leave it off there and go to the Blue Dragon. Miss Aydin Paladin. The blue with us tonight is one of the few dragons of the Empire who doesn't particularly care for the Empire and its politics. Despite the massive wealth production and civilizational advancement, he views the ticking time bomb. He views it all as a ticking time bomb of destruction. And as such, he looks to other interesting worlds which might be a good home, which is what led him to studying Earth. He chose this story tonight to ask us this. If even regular conservative Christians are branded anti-Semitic for questioning the narrative, how do you think Judeo-Christianity can be dispelled?
Well, it goes back to the classic Orwell quote, first of all. If you want to know who rules over you, simply find out who you are not allowed to criticize, which is exactly what happened in the case of Prigine, right? You made a basic criticism.
Yep.
Said, I don't like some of this stuff. I'm critical of it. Was not condemnatory, was not anti-Semitic, whatever the fuck that means, by the way. Just asked a question. Was just asking questions about the direction of the U.S. government and spending and things like that, and has been ousted for that reason. So, if everyone is branded anti-Semitic for questioning the narrative, it means that we are ruled by Israel. At this point, I'm sorry, I don't know how you get to this point in time without having figured that out. The United States is ruled by Israel. So how can Judeo-Christianity be expelled? It's one of the things that I brought up earlier too. These evangelical churches, I don't know what's wrong with them in a lot of parts of the southern United States. They are fomenting a lot of this. It's that what's the name of the specific Bible? Do you know what I'm talking about? Schofield Bible.
The Schofield Bible was pushed at the same time of the formation of Israel.
Yes.
And this was the plan in the 60s to create the, quote, moral majority to support the forever war Zionist machine.
Yes. The reality is that faith, for good reason, is very, very difficult to fuck with. You can't really just evaporate it into the ether. People believe this with their whole hearts. And I'm not going to be one to tell them what they should or should not believe if it's part of their faith. I think they're misled. I think they have completely misread the Bible. For example, I think on an extremely deep level, been lied to or misread the Bible. But how can Judeo-Christianity be expelled or dispelled?
Yeah.
It has to be fundamentally, the distillation that Judaism and Christianity are not a hyphenated word. These are different, and that's a cultural thing. And the same way
they're not just different; they're hostile and
antithetical.
incompatible.
Yes,
they're hostile
they're
to each
antithetical.
other.
Absolutely, antithetical, incompatible, hostile. That has taken, since the introduction of the Scofield Bible, for example, about 100 years, or there in that sort of vicinity, like 80 years, to foment. It's going to take a really long time to disconnect it. Maybe not. That was done very silently and covertly. I do think curiously, a lot of it is being broken apart in real time by just people being able to see reality of what is happening, of the fact that the United States, I actually think, very funnily, I believe completely that the reason why leftoid lunatic retards like Hassan Piker were allowed to go out there publicly and talk about how much they hate Israel every single day for the last 2 years was specifically to also foment an idea within the right, was like, if you criticize Israel, you're a stinky leftist. They drew stink lines all over criticizing Israel. And the number of people on the right who have fallen for that fucking psyop is unfathomable to me, but it's a lot of them. We need to disassociate Judaism with Christianity.
And I think it's happening. Like
it is happening. Israel's own actions.
I look at evangelical churches that permeate the South. Of all of the types of churches that are dying out, it's pretty much only them. Orthodoxy, Catholicism, and non-evangelical church groups are growing, while the evangelical Judeo-Christian ones are shrinking and struggling to have any members younger than 50.
Yes. Now, because the statistics show that there's a big swell in the number of people who are calling themselves Christians who are going to church. And in the South of the United States, a lot of that is to maybe not evangelical, but to those sort of like non-denominational types of churches.
Yes.
There's a lot of that stuff. Those people also tend to be those denominations also tend to be
right, because they're just empty-headed sheep. Like they don't have any convicted beliefs.
No, they have no conviction to nothing.
Right.
So, but is the evangelicals and their Scofield Bible and their Israel obsession that creates Lindsey Graham's and the people who vote for him. That whole idea needs to be wiped out, and I think it will happen, some of it naturally, and it will be a return to orthodoxy, it will be a return to Catholicism, of these very old systems of Christianity that are not preaching this absolute fucking Zionist nonsense that was invented 50, 60, 70 years ago. You know, this stuff is not, this is not the word of God. It has no connection to it. It's a modern invention. And people who are true Christians, I'm not trying to say this to shit on the evangelicals, because I know that they're Christian brothers and sisters in Christ.
No, shit on them all you want, please.
No, shit on them, please.
I don't like it.
They believe in, they accept Jesus Christ. So they're my brothers and sisters in Christ. However, they are led astray. And I really think, and we're seeing this in the population, is that people are getting fucking fed up because people don't want, look, for the basic reason, you want your gas prices to be higher so that you can go, so that you can then go send your sons and daughters to go fight and die for Israel's fucking territorial war for the Greater Israel Project, which is what all this shit's about. Most people don't. Unless they buy into we have to build the third temple so Jesus can come back, which is incredibly an insanely heretical thing to say, that you as a human being can determine when Jesus comes back. Christians have got to get their stuff in line. And the main thing about that is getting rid of the Judeo aspect of it. I don't know how you accomplish that, though, to the dragon. I don't know. But it has to start with excising the Judeo from the Christianity. And that's going to be grassroots. That has to be at the church level. Individual pastors are going to have to go to their congregation and say, no.
All right. Well, let's hear from someone else. That was a lot from Aydin. And it was
sorry, I'm all up fired about this.
No. Like I said, I like it when you get cranked up and you go. It's one of the reasons I like having you on here. But let's move on to someone else for sake of time.
Yeah, I would have to say that evangelicals are a big part of this. They're not going to stop, and many of them are older people. It requires more than just simply claim that you're following the example of Christ. You have to actually do it. You have to actually believe in that. I've never met an evangelical that I could agree with on these things, because they regularly misinterpret scripture. They regularly feel the need to tell other people that God hates them. Even the evangelical that was on UO's panel, I never agreed with. I found myself regularly getting into fights with her because I don't know, just the Jew thing was just inseparable. They stuck to prophecies and dogma, and that might not make me the best Catholic, but I don't really operate that way. I see many of the concepts in Christianity, such as heaven and hell, as metaphors for ruining your life here on earth. It's not that I don't necessarily think that. It's not that I wouldn't want them. I want to be unified in Christ with them, but I can't, because they don't believe in anything Christian. You tell them what Christ does and what he believes through interpretation of scripture, and they just disagree with you. There's nothing to be done there.
I think you can get through to them with scripture, by the way, because I think if you walk through it,
It's never worked for me.
It doesn't work for most people because most Christians don't know fuck all about the Bible or scripture.
I know.
Yeah.
I think you can walk through to them through scripture and talk about who will Jesus not lay hands on? Who will he not deal with? Right?
Stinky bankers.
Sanhedrin.
Not the stinky bankers, not just them, but a specific tribe of people he will not touch. He will not deal with.
As a matter of fact, there is a rather famous Bible story of Jesus laying hands quite vigorously.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Ardent Party knows those dirty Pharisees.
It's not just the Pharisees, but there's a bunch of it's the Edomites, right?
Mm-hmm.
The descendants of Esau, which is who the people in Israel are today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Those people are cursed by God. And I'm saying, if you're using a pure biblical interpretation of all this stuff, people are cursed by God forever. And this is the way that you get through to evangelicals. If you want to speak their language, walk them through the scripture about how the descendants of Esau are cursed forever, and the descendants of Esau are the people who are not the original. They who say they are Jews but are not. That's what, quote, biblical, right from the big J man himself. Those who say they are Jews but are not. And that's who is in the throne of Jerusalem right now. Those who say they are Jews but are not.
Yes. The descendants of the fact that we are the only remaining descendants of Shem makes us the chosen ones.
So, yeah, apparently another.
Go ahead,
Catholic
Bleach.
All people are saved under Christ. It's about not who is saved. All people, including all the Hamites, the Shemites, all of them can be saved. But a certain group refuses to accept Christ. Not only refuses to accept him, but believes that he is burning in a pool of feces in hell. By the way, that is what is taught in the Talmud and
that's what the six-pointed star people represent today.
Yes.
As another Catholic, because we seem to be pretty heavy here, which is awesome. Which, although I wish we were a little more traditional where I am, but that's beside the point. I think one thing that to combat the whole concept of Judeo-Christianity is Christ multiple times showed that he was the new Jerusalem. He was the new Zion. He was the embodiment of all of the scripture in the Old Testament and brought to flesh because of our fallen nature. And the Schofield Bible, which I think was actually published in 1917 for its first iteration, was a corruption and misinterpretation of Zion not being Christ, being God on earth to save us from ourselves, but in land. When we do not differentiate between the salvation God has brought us through him coming to us through the Virgin Mary. And sorry for the atheists in here. I have my problems with you guys. I want to bring you into the fold too. But
before you, just to be clear, whether or not someone believes in this doesn't matter.
Correct.
Some people believe in this 100%, right?
Yeah. And to me, it all comes down to when you get this Judeo-Christian narrative. This is a post-World War II guilt for FDR turning away the Jewish refugees in the Gulf back in 38 or 39 or whatever the hell.
Mm-hmm.
That is all just this massive guilt trip to make the most diehard Christians, which right now appear to be the evangelicals, which we can debate that a different time in a different space, because this is not a theological cast. But when those people have embedded into their identity this level of guilt, this is something that is detrimental to the West, to white culture, to the entirety of what we are outside of, you know, the sandbox. When we deny the divinity of Christ in this way, and I'm sorry, I'm feel like I'm preaching a little bit too much.
No, go ahead. Go when you're done.
But
I'll wrap it up. Go ahead.
But when we are allowing this false, heretical, blasphemous narrative to dominate our culture, we are abandoning our heritage. And until we address this in a way that says we are opposed to both sides in this war against our souls, we're going to fail. And we need to look at, you know, the evangelicals. Or, you know, I do this with my evangelical friends and say, come to Mass. Come to a good, solid Catholic Mass. Understand what it is to mean to worship God, not just, oh, I've got a personal relationship, I'm dancing around. It's like,
yeah,
you're basically a pagan.
I love the rock music. It's great. And then he brought out some snakes and charmed them. Like, shit they get up to in the evangelical churches is nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell, I would rather deal with snake handlers than the concerts, but they're still both false prophets.
For sake of time, since we still have another dragon to go, let me throw in a few cents and we'll wrap this up. I actually disagree with all of you. I don't think that feelings care about facts, and I think that when it comes to religion, one of the most feels and not facts-based things that there is, which is an important pillar to our civilization. All this ecumenical stuff has been cancer. All this Judeo-Christian stuff has been cancer. All this stuff has not worked. And, you know, we can talk about the horrors of dispensationalism and all that till we're blue in the face. We can talk about how those of the new covenant are the real Israel, or the real Zion. None of that fucking works because people have been doing that for decades. When it comes to the religious stuff, the thing that I think actually works is the go free method I push all the time. Because that goes directly at feels over reals. It goes directly to the core of the matter of all of this shit's bad for us and we're being thrown under the bus. And God loves us. Christianity is the religion of our civilization, not everybody else's. It's ours. And this is why I think the only way we are going to recapture church and God stuff is through a racial lens, through racial identity, through ethnic pride. Because if you have all of these different fractious groups of Christians, what unifies us all? We're all being attacked for anti-white, but via the anti-white stuff. When we rally under that banner, when we actually point out how anti-white things are, we're not pointing a finger at Jews necessarily. We're not pointing a finger at Muslims or Hindus necessarily. We're talking about how all of this shit that has been done to us was on purpose and bad for us because we are us. And I think that when you start having that sentiment take precedent, you start seeing all of the church factions become more based and actually talking about what matters. And so this is why I gave up on all types of religious arguments and debates. And I only talk about it through the lens of white well-being, using Go Free lexicon and tactics of discussion. That's how I turned my mother onto things and got her away from Judeo-Christianity. That's how I affected the church that we were at before the preacher left and we had an anti-white shitbag come in and ruin our little church. And a bunch of the people who I convinced in that church also left and started a different church. This is how you can have success, is putting it in a racial ethnic identity lens and saying all of this stuff is bad for us. We should eschew it because it is negative to us and it's not what God wants because he loves us and we are his people. You make it about us, you throw in some religious language, but you keep the message on racial ethnic identity and the anti-whiteism being perpetrated to us from men of the cloth and through all these religious lies being pushed to us through government and hostile actors. That is the only way I've ever had success at winning or converting anybody away from Judeo-Christian horseshit. That's the only thing that has ever worked. That's why I stand for the Go Free method, because it fucking works. And it especially works on evangelicals. It's very, very good at walking evangelicals away from Judeo-Christian horseshit. So
I think you're probably right. Because my suggestion was trying to get some more based ministers. Certainly, people who, if you really read your Bible, you really study your Bible, it's all laid out. It's not hidden.
It ain't a mystery. It's all there.
No, it's very clear. But you need to have the right pastor, the right priest. You know, again, I'm also a Catholic, so it's a little bit different. But I do think you have to find some other way to get through to them, because the pastors that they're going to go to are going to be these Judeo-Christian type, evangelical types. These people are going to lie, and they're going to lie them to hell. They're right now lying these people to the point where they want to bring about the end times in their own minds. What they think they're doing right now is accelerating end times so Jesus will come back, which is insane.
It's heretical too.
I agree. It's utterly heretical. You don't get to decide when that happens. That's God's domain.
It's my channel, and I decide what happens here. We're moving on.
True. Yeah. Sorry. This stuff's so
Okay.
contentious, and it's a forever conversation, right? Sorry.
Yes, I love the discussion, but we have to move on for sake of time. And we do have a paid chat over on Entropy from our good friend Stumbling. Thank you very much, Stumbling. For $5, he says, "Hail, adventurers! Which comes first, white identity and peoplehood, or Christianity? I believe we need both to overthrow the evil we are living under, but which does the panel believe underpins the other?" I think I answered that. I think that if you want to think of the divine as a light, as a force, as something that is so above and outside of humanity we can't comprehend it, it is some kind of, divine cosmic force. Think of the religious expressions of mankind as that light refracting different ways out of a single prism. And the expressions of religion that we have in Western civilization, the many different types of Catholicism and non-Christian pagan stuff and, Orthodoxy and all these things we have, that is the expressions that single light shines out of our different facets of the prism.
Yes.
And if you don't have those facets, those religious expressions go away. That's why I think approaching this from a racial identitarian lens is what will save the religious stuff that we so love and hold dear. You have to go at that first, because that's what's under attack. And without white people, there is no Christianity left. It's all gone.
Yeah.
So
Beautifully put. Yes, the prism metaphor, fantastic. I agree. I agree completely.
That's a Yiz original. You can take it and use it as much as you want.
I will. That's a great one.
The original, if you will, perhaps,
The original.
perchance.
And what
If
you
you
say,
may.
Ginger? Go ahead. Ginger said something.
I just said that even makes sense to me as a non-religious person.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. All right. We have one topic left. And of course, it is Texan Musk, as you see there. Ginger, you're the party leader, so you only have one choice. Do you want to be the one to answer this one first, or do you want to pick someone else to?
I don't believe I have actually answered any yet, have I?
Nope.
You've
You
not.
want to take it? This is a
I
tech
shall take
question.
Texan
This
Musk.
is a tech topic, so you and 3 of 12 will probably be good at it. So, yeah, you can go ahead and take this one. So let's go ahead and move over here and read about Mr. Musk. Elon Musk just announced plans to build chip factories that will produce double what the entire U.S. makes. SpaceX and Tesla are going to build TerraFab, 2 advanced chip factories in Austin, Texas, one for cars and one for humanoid robots, another for AI satellites. There is a chip shortage, and Elon Musk isn't waiting for suppliers to fix it. The CEO of Tesla and SpaceX announced plans on Sunday to build TerraFab in Austin, Texas. He says the current global chip production meets only 3% of his future needs. One factory will produce chips for vehicles and Optimus humanoid robots. The other will make specialized chips for AI satellites. And together, the facilities will eventually produce 1 terawatt of computing capacity per year, double what the entire United States currently generates. Musk says he's grateful to existing chip suppliers like Samsung, TSMC, and Micron, but insists demand from his companies will eventually exceed total global chip output. Quote, "We either build the TerraFab or we don't have the chips," he said during a Saturday presentation in Austin. He did not provide a timeline when asked. This is just his goal. So let us move to the White Dragon, which is this handsome old bearded fella here. The White with us tonight leads a large clan of whites on a desert world rich with both magic and minerals. And since the elevation of man's technology, his world has become a powerhouse of industry and leading technologies. The humans of his world are gifted and lead many industries in the empire, including starship engines. He chose this story tonight to ask us about the pursuit of technology, and it comes to you first, Ginger. How do you think technological advancement ties into the well-being of your people and your civilization? And how much should it be tempered by things like morality and environmental concerns?
Ooh, that is a good question. Right, well, in regards to the first half of that question, how do I think it ties into the well-being of your people and civilization? It depends on how it is utilized. Generally speaking, the more tech develops, the better people's lives get, broadly speaking. However, certain technologies, when developed, inevitably result in the lives of everybody getting worse. A ideal example of this being, as far as I'm concerned, social media. Social media as a concept, especially in the Facebook-like era in which we see the entirety of the internet currently being pushed towards today, that is definitely a corruption of an otherwise fantastic idea that is the internet. In regards to how should it be tempered by things like morality and environmental concerns, that's much less easy to answer. The environmental concerns, I'll give a tackle at that. Regarding power generation and usage for the likes of AI server farms, good Lord, please stop. I hate it. I'm not concerned about the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere or anything to that effect. I just hate AI and I want it to be gone. Purely selfish reasoning there.
Same.
In all
Same.
seriousness,
Yes, same.
AI data farms do actually consume colossal amounts of power. Think all of the energy that was once consumed by people farming Bitcoin, that is now multiplied worse than the AI server farms that exist in various locations within the Western and Eastern hemispheres. It is terrifying the amount of energy that they are consuming, and in doing so causing people to have to generate far more energy, and in doing so driving forward to the green agenda, which is in turn causing a whole host of other problems that obviously are causing economic strife. In regards to how can it be tempered by morality, ooh, that is a hell of a question.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to give
One
a
that I'm afraid I don't have much of an answer at all, I'm afraid.
Okay, sure.
The thing about morality is that it develops much in the same fashion that technology does. And this is a particular example where technology has outpaced morality. And in my personal opinion, for the last, well, up until about 100 years ago, morality was outpacing the development of technology. It's only since the development of printed circuit boards that the development of technology has outpaced the development of morality. And as a result, we're running into the issues that we're running into today.
All right. Good answer.
So,
Let's move to someone else.
I
Go
actually
ahead,
think
Greg.
in that vein, that morality and technology and even philosophy and government evolve in a similar way. I actually think we already have the morality with all the answers to our problems, and it's to just rely less on external technology to make decisions in our daily lives. There used to be a point where we were quite happy with what our technology was doing, right? And we need a restoration of the we need a simplification of search, the search engines that we had when we were young, where we could actually look things up, read an article, read like a well-written article about something from some blogger.
Yeah, I'm old. I remember when Google was actually good and useful.
Like, remember when we all wrote papers on our computers with Office 03, and we had to look up sources and cite them, and they had to be cited properly?
Yeah,
I want a return of that. I want a return of an internet that's actually just has no monetary sort of, doesn't have this sort of monetary incentives on it to turn itself into essentially an ad farm. The thing that ruined Google in the end was that websites were being generated for the sole purpose of exactly replicating the text of another website, so that there was a possibility that you will click on that site instead of the other one, and then they get tax revenue. I mean, they get ad revenue off of it. Now there's basically a billion copycat websites. So whenever you search something, you get several, if not dozens of pages of websites that say the exact same thing. Meaning that small little forum post that you would look for to solve that very esoteric and obscure problem you're trying to solve with your motherboard from 2005 is basically just washed away. I'd say the answer is a complete attitude shift. I mean, part of the problem is that people just feed right into it by just letting it control them, letting them push them around. They don't use ad block. I mean, the fact that YouTube continues to function day in and out with all sorts of people being served ads is crazy. 100% of people should be blocking ads on YouTube. YouTube should be forced to change their position on it. It should go back to the way it is. But people are pushovers. They won't do anything. And when you expect them to put in a small amount of effort, I see, like, install an add-on for a browser, which requires one Google search. That's one of the things that's still working, and yet people still won't do it. There needs to be a significant cultural change on the individual level. The individual needs to be more poised towards putting an effort to things. Putting effort is free. You're burning it like time. It's something that you could be putting in at any time to fix a problem, and you're not, because monkey brains say, be comfortable. And I figured this is going to change with certain people dying out, I'm sorry to say. It has to come up. You know, the boomer must be overturned.
And also, I think that the massive swaths of incompetence will just naturally fade away and die out when the hard times really hit. So I don't worry about that. Like, it's, you know.
Yeah, I figure that's going to change.
The garbage in the gene pool will be filtered out through whenever, because we're not all going to make it through the eye of the needle. Like, it's just, you know, the long winter has a way of sorting the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah, I saw that Stumbling mentioned Lycos. Is that a search engine that operates with some kind of filter? I've heard of its name before.
I don't know. I'm not. There's a lot of search engines out there. I don't know them all.
I've heard of it before. It just rang a bell or two.
That's old early 2000s search engine that I vaguely remember.
It's probably not in operation the way that I'm intending, because it's probably also suffering from that same problem. I mean, everything has to sort of piggyback on Google searches anyway, in a sense, in that the way that it operates is basically, the point of search engines is they index the web. So basically, if you index all those websites,
Jeeves,
yes,
I remember that.
Yes, I asked Jeeves to fuck off.
As we all did.
As we all did.
And fuck off he did.
Sadly, went to Google, if I remember
yes,
right.
Although if I recall correctly, he was kind of most people's number 2, if not number 1. Maybe that's
just remember there was a time there was a time, a long time ago now, where Google's business motto was "Don't be evil." And I'm quite convinced that the day that they decided to remove that as their business motto was the day when they decided, but being evil's so profitable.
Yeah, as someone who
Well-
was already paying attention to it, it was just a formalization of it. They were already fucking hollowed out and corrupt. Like someone with cancer, it's just one organ, not two.
My question would be, how much curry did they have when they dropped "Don't be evil"?
Oh my god, there's plenty. I was already plenty at that point. Oh my god, they were doing it first. Oh,
Yeah.
that's painful.
So, does anybody else have anything on this? If not, I'll say a few things and we can move on.
Well,
I'll defer to Aydin.
Yeah, I'm not really going. I have no idea.
Well, I want to
honestly.
say a few things about the environmental concerns because I think that we can all agree that the environmentalists as a movement are a complete failure and are completely hijacked by globalist intentions. Especially considering I saw on the Twitter today.
That's precisely why I didn't say environmentalism. I said environmental
Yeah.
concerns. Because
Oh, of course.
most of us on the right are strongly concerned about nature and the environment, but we aren't these idiot environmentalist types.
Right. I am concerned about being a good steward for the environment in a way that is actually
Right.
responsible and preserves the ecology.
Right.
Now, I'm slightly less concerned about the water use because obviously water you put water into a loop and then you just cycle it endlessly. And if you ever dismantle it, you
Yeah.
can always dump the water.
Yeah, that
It's-
was I'm quite convinced that the whole they're using all the water, that was an intentional obfuscation of the issue in order to be able to create and then and then properly burn a straw man. I'm
It's
quite
not-
convinced that was effectively that was a planted argument that they could easily knock down in order to make room within the moral lexicon of the public in order to justify AI data centers.
It's not a complete straw man though, because you can kind of see it as some way on the way that you look at watts for power. It's as far as like it's not destroying the water obviously, but it is using it. It is holding it in a loop, and it's being used by that application. And my answer to that is there's all kinds of specialized cooling systems that use actual refrigerants. You don't have to use water. If you wanted to just ban that, you could. You could, and there would be almost no impact.
And also, we would have plenty of water for these technological applications if our countries weren't stuffed with hundreds of millions of people who shouldn't fucking be here.
That is also true. Like being concerned about water usage as if it was wattage.
If white
that would
countries
be
were
a
just for
problem.
white people, we'd have all the freaking water we needed for tech.
Yeah, we need to
More than
depopulate
enough.
the country by some 100 million, if not more. It would solve all of our problems. It would solve virtually every single contentious issue, including this one, because power and water would be so cheap and plentiful that you wouldn't even register on your meter.
Now, the fascinating thing about energy availability is this. Energy is one of those delightful resources that if you have a sufficient oversupply of energy, you suddenly free up practically infinite resources in every other area.
Yeah,
If
that's
you
why
have
I'm a
infi-
huge proponent of pushing nuclear power hard, because that
Yes,
would be
yes, same.
a tremendous boon to our countries is going full nuclear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Let me put this into let me put this
Mhm.
point into the concept of water availability. One of the primary issues with water availability is the fact that the vast majority of the water on Earth exists within the oceans and is saturated with salt. The issue there being that you can't use it because the salt present in the water will cause degradation both to biological and technological systems that you try to utilize it in. However, using excessive amounts of energy, you can desalinate that water by boiling it off or forcing it through a semi-permeable membrane, or
Indeed.
there are other methods included. If you have ridiculous amounts of free energy to be able to pump into desalination, suddenly you are able to unlock the potential of infinite free water through the use of desalination plants. By having infinite energy, you have thus created infinite water. The same applies to the likes. The same applies to the likes of fossil fuels. It would be possible to create infinite gasoline or diesel or any other kind of material by pulling carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and then using excessive amounts of energy to effectively recombobulate the molecules out of the atmosphere and effectively reverse the combustion process by injecting energy into the constituent chemicals to create fuels, artificial fuels that would run in cars and things of that nature. The reason why today we make use of fossil fuels, by the way, is because the sheer amount of energy density that you can get in a fossil fuel is primarily down to the fact that you are only storing half of the chemical reaction within your vehicle, the other half being the oxygen that is present in the atmosphere. If you had to store both halves of the combustion reaction in your car, it would halve the energy density of combustion fuels, and then suddenly you'd be at the same energy density problems as what electric vehicles are having to deal with today.
Yeah, eventually, I do think that if we can solve these other problems and we don't go extinct, I do think that the future is in nuclear energy and electric vehicles, but we don't have the material science there just yet. But when we do,
Indeed.
I do think that eventually we can leave fossil fuel stuff behind. But you're right about that right now. We're not there yet, but I do think that we could be.
By the way, to anybody thinking, to anybody who's currently laboring under the delusion of fusion power, allow me to just burst that bubble nice quickly by saying that I am somebody who has spent a considerable amount of effort and time researching the concepts and the issues and everything involved with the idea of implementing economically viable fusion-based energy generation. It's never going to happen, and the reasons
not for a
are
long time.
Not just for a long time, possibly forever. It's certainly not by the time we are in our graves, most likely not by the time our children are in their graves. And the reason is incredibly simple. To make fusion power work, you need to be able to separate two fluids without touching them. That is impossible.
So until we've mastered things like GravTech, which is like 2 or 3 PL levels above where we are, I don't think that we'll get there.
Yeah, you can't.
But regardless, we need to move on. So shut up.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
Sure.
Yeah. It is now time. You know what time it is? Treasure time.
Wait, let's treasure.
Yahoo! Now, we have things to shield, first of all. Miss Aydin Paladin, you have a new channel. I will be sharing the link to that in the chat. But before we get to that, American Spirits is the sister stream to this one on Monday nights now. I have shared the link to American Spirits tonight. It's the 32nd episode over on the Old Glory Club. And I know many of you in my chat will like the topic. It's about the constitutionality or not of a national bank, which is one of the keystones of central banking. And that is what they will be talking about tonight. It will be very interesting. So go ahead and pop the tab open now and get ready to listen, because that's where I will be going when the stream is over. Aydin Paladin, I am sharing your link to your new channel in the chat. As we speak, please tell people why they should follow it.
Oh, yes. So what I've done is I made a video and I put it up on my channel that will explain it in more detail if you'd like to know this. It's not just me that this has happened to, but over the past year on YouTube, my viewership declined by about 90%. And it's not just me. I think that there is a growing decline in interest in a lot of politics, sort of. It's a certain kind of frame of politics, maybe. There is an interest, a growing disinterest in some element of politics, that's true. But also, what I found was that any video that I made that was not explicitly like Charlie Kirk's face, like right in the thumbnail or something like that, you know what I mean? Explicitly political, just flopped. And that did not used to be the case on my channel. Over the last 9 years, I've made videos on all kinds of subjects that were more or less political, and the less political ones did fine. But 2025 was a nightmare for me. I lost about 90% of my viewership. And when I was asking people, like, what's going on? Are you not interested in the videos? People just told me, I didn't know you made any videos this year. I thought you quit. That was overwhelmingly the response.
So anyway, show your new channel. Come on.
Yes, sorry. So the point is that I've made a new channel that is for explicitly scientific content. It is Science Sybil, SIBYL. If you would like to see just scientific stuff, it's me. There's going to be politics in it. It just, you know the direction of politics it'll be in, right? I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to give you some lib shit, fucking retard truth, fake truth. It'll be the same stuff. Yeah, that's it.
And I highly encourage you to follow that. I subscribe to it. It's a good
Thank
time.
you, Yiz. Thank you.
Mr. Bleach Demon, you have something coming out tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, and I will be sharing the link in the chat while you shill.
Yes, indeed. So Fat Dave, a friend of this channel, also known as Total Blackout Painting, we will be going back into the art stream, and we'll be talking about Jacob Jordan. And it's a fascinating, at least I like to think so, exploration of art, especially Western art, and recapturing that for white well-being.
Very good. And of course, I appreciate you guys when you had me on that one time. I had a great time, and I'll definitely come back another time.
Absolutely, and you know, you're welcome. And anyone else who is here or other guests who are interested in art are far more than welcome to join us, because it's a really in-depth examination of really sorry TBB. It's really a focus on going out and appreciating art, because we need to. We've given so much of our culture away. We need to start clawing back the basics, and so much of it is fascinating and a touchstone on who we are as a culture, not just American culture or English culture, but Western culture as a whole.
Yeah, art was a wonderful subject. It's I took every art history course that my little state university offered. I think it was 7 or 8 of them. And studying art and architecture and how those things have changed and what they've influenced and what they were influenced by, it definitely teaches you a lot about who and where we come from. It's beautiful, interesting stuff. So 3 of 12, do you have anything to shill tonight?
Yes, I do, actually. Intel fucking did it. They managed to release a new series of CPUs based on the Core series. The 270... Yes, the 270 is actually good.
Oh, do you have one?
I do not. Intel does not know who I am and does not care. I wish I had one, but no, they just came out. And you can get pretty much 95% of the performance of a 9850 X3D in a 270 for about 60% of the cost. They're genuinely competitive. They've seemed to have figured out ribbon FET. They've actually done it. The new CEO is actually doing things. They've also released new GPUs on the Battlemage line, I believe. They have a new Intel GPU out, and it is apparently also really good. They have managed to really focus on value, and they've done it. They might really be back in it.
Wow. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes, because I stopped using Intel a long time ago, like most people. But if they actually get back in the game, then I might give it a try. Like if their new CPU seems to be, not riddled with the issues that the i7s and i9s were, then I might give it a go again. So
it's been a while since the 14th gen stuff. So
yeah,
it's now it's a question of benchmarks.
Well, hopefully that'll be good. All right, so we have some memes to look at, but I promised you a UK-based video funny, and I have it right here.
Ooh.
It is entitled "Not All Heroes Wear Clothes."
Oh no!
So prepare yourselves. Here we go.
What's the waste of taxpayer money? What's the waste of resources? I'm going to say, pensioners, they're elderly people. What's a waste of taxpayer money? What's a waste?
Oh my god, the sound! Oh my god, the sound is so perfect. Boom! It's cartoonish.
This is great.
Fucking North FC shows up and they bonk them all.
Baz walked in there and just bonked her.
Fucking North FC sorted her out, son.
North FC, let's go.
I
right.
will say I love that video. It is excellent. It is wonderful. Unfortunately, it is AI.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, that's
no.
definitely AI, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, they were in for assault, wouldn't they?
Damn.
No,
no,
Well,
yeah.
the noise was
The
too
whole thing's
perfect.
AI,
Too.
but it's hilarious.
I figured it was
The-
fake because that noise was too perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. As far as I know, it was all real right up until Greg with the frying pan comes in.
So the person who sent it to me said it was AI slop. So I don't know.
Well, wait, was
But
it
anyway.
real up until then? Oh well, yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's funny. That's what matters. This is funny. All right. So
Yeah.
speaking of
Yeah,
funny,
absolutely hilarious. I love it.
speaking of funny, we have memes to look at, and as you all know, we unfortunately have to all bid adieu to Chuck Norris, the legend. Chuck
I
Norris
know.
has passed on and is no more. He died over the weekend, and
Indeed.
Chuck Norris was always a legend. And of course, death didn't take Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris took death's job. And here he is. Here he is with the OnlyFans CEO.
Yes.
Who is the greatest contributor to APAC?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Walker, Texas Ranger, back on the job.
Here we
In
go.
the
Sorry,
aftermath.
pal. No entry.
I'm not
And
seeing
next we
anything
have-
on stream, yes?
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm not either.
This is not.
It's
hell.
not showing up in StreamYard,
damn.
but it
Give me just a
seems
second.
like it's
Let me-
no. It's
Oh, I know
going
the
to.
problem. Give me a second. I have to. I accidentally clicked off of something. Give me a moment. I'll just start this over. I will just start this over. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, nope, not that. Sorry, guys.
So we're just going to riot and take over the stream right now.
No, I'm the curator. I will kill you. All right, I fixed it and it's back up. Here we go.
Oh, yep.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah.
That's what-
Death did not take Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris took Death's job, and here he is at the bedside of the OnlyFans guy.
Yeah, we
May-
wonder
may-
why there wasn't much laughter. It's because
May that evil,
Yes.
that evil anti-white Jew rot in boiling feces.
Oh,
Now,
right.
and then here's
That's
a good
too
one.
high a regard.
Here we go. Sorry, pal, no entry.
And he's gonna be Gabriel's backup.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You mean Gabriel is his backup?
Correct. You're
All right, here we go. One does not simply die when you're Chuck Norris. You sail west to the Undying Lands with Gandalf.
Yep.
Chuck Norris chose scissors.
He did.
All right, here we go. This is just funny. It's not a meme, but I wanted to share it with you. We need to change the name of National Park to Uncontrollable Wilderness. Here's a fun post. I work at a store that solely revolves around a popular river. During the summer, there is no shortage to clueless tourists. A customer comes up to me. Excuse me, I let my 2 sons go tubing about an hour ago, and I was just wondering, when does the river come back around?
Oh my god.
Me, ma'am? I don't understand. What do you mean come back around? The river, how long does it take for them to come back around? It doesn't. The customer's eyes went wide. She yelled for her husband and then left to go find their sons. I hope they found them before they ended up in the Gulf.
I have actually experienced this before. In real life, I've gone tubing down multiple rivers and had people seriously be like, "Yeah, when does the river ride come back?" Unironically,
Wow.
Jesus
real
Christ.
experience.
There are stupid people out there.
I can almost guess what river that was on.
I like this one. It's tax season in the U.S. So when TurboTax asks if you have any dependents, yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah. Please tell me you're not talking about the Shenandoah.
Oh,
Even the man in the crown.
not the Shenandoah.
No, not the Shenandoah. No, it's well, we can talk about that after.
This is pretty good. This is a visual one. You have to see it.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. I've seen multiple
Oh,
variants of
Christ.
this meme. Yes.
And you guys need to get lower standards, I guess.
I like this. Crush, show me what you can do with those fingers. Me.
I mean, yes,
Yeah.
to be honest. Look at what he's doing with
All
them.
right, I'll tell on myself. Unironically, I've actually done that in real life, and the giggling fit was worth it.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Good on you. The term domestic housewife implies there are feral ones. I now have a nickname. I'll break 1,000 campaign promises before I let Israel die.
Before I
Oh,
let
no.
Israel.
Oh,
it
God, that's
slightly
so accurate.
inconvenienced.
Isn't that great,
Fucking
Ginger? I thought
hell.
you'd like that one.
The worst part is
That's
I
so
can't tell
sad.
if that's Lindsay or Trump.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's any of them.
It's
any of 'em.
holding.
Yes.
It's holding Blood Feast.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, they are
Blood feast.
all captured by the spirit of Holden Blood Feast.
This is pretty funny. I saw this on Twitter. What is white people's version of the smoke alarm chirp? We can't hear or see us being genocided.
Ooh.
Oh, it's so true.
Yeah,
Mm.
Hey,
I like
hey!
this.
I'll have you know that my smoke alarm chirp goes off at every half hour.
That's true. That's true.
That's
I like
true.
this one. This
Yes.
is a fun green post. Been chatting with the cute 14-year-old. Really flirty and sexy. Now she tells me she's an undercover cop. How fucking cool is that for someone her age?
Old post, 2015.
Japan has a chance
Yes.
to do the coolest thing ever in the Strait of Hormuz.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
please,
Oh,
Gojira! Gojira, go!
guy, this.
If you haven't watched Godzilla -1, do so. Or
Yeah, destroy those Chinese stocks. Yeah, do it. I'm out of the stock market. Fuck all of you.
I like this one. Everybody have a good time.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
yes.
great.
Here's one. This is the one I promised
Right,
you three
yes.
as well.
yes.
This is
Can
great.
you do an Alex Jones voice though?
I don't want to. For
I
sake
present
of
to you the creature the CIA literally installed to destroy the state. She states the fakeness of the level of perfection. She's the female version of Gavin Newsom. She wants to take everything you have.
Very good. Very good.
Oh, God.
Destroy the child. Eat the child. Consume the child.
Now somebody took this picture and did something great with it. Check this
I
out.
love Alex Jones. Oh, yeah, there you go.
There's
It's too real.
Jesus, they fixed her nose.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
actually did.
I think that's
Yeah.
just a shadow from the hat.
There's a better version with the nose untouched.
There's a goblin version, too.
Next up, we have wonder who decides what we are allowed to tweet. Well, neighbor, it all started in a pencil factory in Georgia in the year 1913.
Oh God, why is that real?
Like, okay.
It's so fucking real.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we had neighbors like that.
I wish.
I like this one. You guys know that I like to end with a George Floyd meme I haven't seen. And here's
Instead of
one
neighbors
thing.
like this, right?
Yeah.
Every year that Trump has run for president, a famous and beloved animal has died and decided the outcome of the election.
Yeah.
It's so true. Harambe, George Floyd, and Peanut the Squirrel. Every year.
Good times, good times.
Damn.
All right,
Damn.
ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the stream. I desperately would like to go pee and listen to American Spirits
Me
tonight.
too.
I highly encourage you guys to go check out American Spirits. It's awesome. It's a great time. And that's where I will be. A big thank you to all of my wonderful guests who have been here. And as a reminder, my picnic event is in 3 Saturdays. Let me know if you want to come. There are already some local people lined up to come. Unfortunately, Bleach Demon can't make it because it's one of the only times of the year that he is preoccupied. Maybe next year he can come. But we do have some local OGC guys coming and some White Well-Being people coming. So it should be a very wholesome, quite positive, pro-America event with just some people getting together to enjoy some good cooking, grill out, and enjoy a beautiful lakeside park. Reach out to me. Let me know if you want to come. I will be back tomorrow playing Mega Man 3 on my channel between 4 and 6 p.m. tomorrow. Come check that out for Yiz Plays. And, of course, I will be back next Monday with more Discordant Dragons. Good night and God bless.
Good night,
Right on.
everybody.
Good night.